Oh yeah, the groove is in the heart, folks. Welcome to the Sixers Talk podcast, brought to you by Wilmington University. Wilmy Works, Danny Pommells, Noah Levick, keeping us on the level. The Queen, Amy Fadool, in the flesh, joining us as she always does, and she is happy that the NBA draft lottery is next week. We are closing in on a watershed moment. We thought we were out of these days where we look forward to the lottery, but
right back in it.
We are right back in it, guys. And NBA draft next month. A 2-day event, really unnecessary, but a 2-day event next month, the end of June. And we found out today, this morning, not so well kept secret, that Jared McCain will be there, bringing his luck, hoping that this lands in the top 6 selections.
No, they're bringing him because they hope it lands his fellow.
Number one? Are we going number 1? Is that we're going to get greedy here? Or are we getting greedy? Listen,
I've been on record saying they owe us. They owe us. They owe us fans. They owe us big time. So
they have a 10.5% chance to get that number 1 pick. The Flyers, the NHL draft lottery was last night. They had a 9.5% chance to get the number 1 pick. And you know what they got? They got the 6th pick. And teams that had a 3.5% chance,
that was unbelievable.
The New York Islanders got the number 1 pick. I know way too much about the NHL draft lottery. They have this really weird system where I don't even want to get into it. Pat Devlin had me looking at videos, and last year's was
really weird.
All types of stuff. But
we think our ping pong calls are strange. The ping pong calls are very strange.
Yeah, it was so reminiscent of, I used to watch the news, and they would have the lottery results, Pennsylvania lottery, and they will pull it from this tube, and it was similar to that. It was very nostalgic in a way, Gary Bettman in all his splendor. But let's get back to the Sixers team, man, and Matt McCain will be representing them, and it'll be good to see his smiling face and his energy and his effervescence coming and representing the 76ers. Hopefully they get a good pick. Man, if it lands in number 7, my gosh, the fans would be in an uproar. But we're not going to think that way. We're going to be positive and upbeat. And the NBA playoffs, guys, you've been paying attention to this. Some fantastic games yesterday.
Let me ask you this. I was talking to someone today, and they were like, I'm not watching that series because I hate the Knicks and I hate the Celtics. And like on his face, I got it. But
yes.
like,
very Cowboys Giants. Like, you hope both teams fall into a crack in the earth. Like, yeah, I get
don't
that.
You like want to watch it just a little bit? Like, I don't know. I mean,
you got a lot of Philadelphia connections there with the Nova Knicks, as well as, so many other former players. PJ Tucker,
the former Sixer.
Yeah. Mikal Bridges. Yeah, we determined that on the last podcast. He does qualify as a former Sixer. But man, that game went to OT. It came down to the last minute. The Knicks were down 20 points, ended up winning it. Jalen Brunson, what was he, the NBA clutch player of the year? But he had a couple of shots, the threes, and then the little runner that went around the rim and out. Fun game.
Like, he scored 11 straight points.
And we're not even talking about the late game.
Oh, right.
Aaron Gordon won that at the
Aaron Gordon. That's the thing. Like, there's some people that I get it. They're like, the Sixers aren't in it. I'm not watching at all. You're missing out on some really good basketball.
I will say I have been in that camp. I
get it.
Camp. And I think, honestly, it's the bitterness of the way that it ended that you're kind of like still trying to process, and you kind of hate the teams, hate the faces, hate that your team's not in it. And I've been there. I've been bitter. I've been sour. I've been in that camp for sure. But if you missed last night, you missed some fantastic games. Chet Holmgren got put on a poster by Aaron Gordon. There was a lot going on last night. I live with a Celtics fan, though, so I have not even asked or thought about talking about the game last night, even though I would love to rub it in their face. But I'm an elevated human being. I am beyond that.
I had a text chain. We have a text chain with Mark Jackson, Jim Lynam, myself, and Brian Brennan. And you guys all know Brian Brennan. Brian Brennan is our pre and post game producer for Sixers, among other things. Obviously, out of season, I think he's doing Sportsnet Central today, for example. But he grew up in the Boston area, Red Sox fan, Patriots fan, Celtics fan. And when like we have a friendly text chat, and I said something about like, I can't believe, that they didn't win it at the buzz, whatever it was. And then I had forgotten for a minute, like, that I'm literally texting a Celtics fan that this team blew a 20-point. Like, I was like, oh, so I like literally, because I said something about like Jalen Brunson, incredible or whatever. And Brian is, enough that he can appreciate that. But I think it was just like the straight face emoji, like, get out of my face. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I totally forgot that, because we're just like texting about basketball. It's a great game, right? And I was like, oh my God. So I separate text message to Mark and Jim after that. Like, this is why you get Mikal Bridges. This is incredible. But I forgot in that moment. I was like, he must have, it'd be like, he's a UNC guy. It'd be me like texting him after UNC loses. Like, that was fun, right? Like, no, obviously for you, it wasn't fun, but it was a great game.
Although, like, I'm not sure many Celtics fans are like getting much sympathy from anyone. Like, this NBA title. Like, I do know that position. Your team just, blew a big lead in the playoffs, and it's sour. But I'm sure Brian gets it, and he's heard plenty of shtick, kind of being in the Philly area and rooting for the teams he does. And yeah, Boston has had like a few of these really bad, weird losses where their late game execution is poor, and they surprisingly lose home games in the last couple of years. But obviously, they've generally found a way to get through it all. You think back to that series against Miami where they blew the 3-0 lead, and then ultimately we're able to get it done. So I still think they're the favorites in this series, but that was definitely the perfect way to start it, and makes it ultra intriguing. And yeah, for me, like, I'm still, I think, right in with Oklahoma City as the favorites to win the NBA title. But of course, more difficult road now. And looks like that series against Denver is going to be a lot of fun as well.
Man, experience counts for so much. OKC is my son's team. I don't know, man. I really like them. Look what happened to Houston, man. Experience just means so much. So, but Shai Gilgeous definitely well past his years as far as the, orchestrator, captain of that ship. Speaking of OKC, though, can we play a little revisionist history? Because Noah's like, yep, I know where you're going here. In 2020, the Sixers traded Al Horford and his 4 years, $97 million contract to the Oklahoma City Thunder, along with a 2025 first round pick. And here we are. Protected. So that really meant a lot. That really means a lot at this point. And here we are in 2025. Daryl Morey, the orchestrator of that, he and Keith Pompey. Keith Pompey had an article, with the quotes from Morey, and him saying that he does not feel any remorse or, any way about trading that pick at the time, because it was a smart move. And they got off of Horford's deal, who is still playing in the NBA and still producing and playing for a rival. And do you feel like you wish things had turned out differently from that trade as it pertains to right now, whether it be with the Horford still performing, whether it be with the fact that they don't have the pick in the position that they would like? Any thoughts about how that happened and where we are now? A lot has happened in those 5 years, particularly with the players that have come and gone here with this team. But any thoughts as we are reaching the point where this is finally coming to fruition, or may not come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny looking back, because I remember with trading the pick, I believe initially as we were trying to gather info and understand the exact terms of the trade, it was just described as a lightly protected pick. And then, of course, we got the details on what exactly that entails, and now we all know that very well. Got to be top 6, or else pretty brutal situation, at least for this year for the Sixers. But at the time, I thought it was a really good trade, and I still feel the same way. I mean, Danny Green at the time was kind of at the back end of his prime. He gave the Sixers some really good basketball. He was consistently available. and was a starting level player for them. And Al Horford, of course, at the time was coming off a terribly disappointing season where everyone saw the fit was just untenable here with Joel Embiid offensively, and all importantly with Ben Simmons offensively. And the Sixers were still committed to Ben Simmons and still saw him as a key piece of the team. So I thought it was smart work by Morey. I think
surprising. I didn't think he would be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was skeptical that there would be a good trade involving Al Horford after what everyone saw the past year. So like I'm sure Morey understands Philadelphia fans will have a negative emotional reaction if the pick does not convey. But I think just like if you're taking a step back, that was one of the better moves he's made as the Sixers president of basketball operations. It was his very first draft night. And I thought it was a good one. I think there are other moves where criticism is much more fair, but I think kind of going piece by piece of the components of that deal, still a thumbs up for me overall. But of course, a much bigger thumbs up if the pick does convey this year.
Yeah, I love the term. I remember that lightly protected. That's not light. That's heavily protected.
Yeah. Lightly have whatever.
Lightly is like 1 through 20. That's lightly protected. 1 through 6 is very heavily protected, but Noah's point is so valid because that was the contract. I mean, that was an absolute albatross hanging around their neck because Al Horford did not fit here. He did not play well here. It's been so hard to watch him had this career resurgence, win the title, obviously with the Celtics. It's not even a resurgence. He only plays well apparently in a Celtics uniform. Any other uniform, terrible. But it was a bad fit alongside Joel Embiid, and it seemed on paper it was going to be something that worked. Here's how you get like a good backup. You have him just play next to Joel Embiid in that 4 type of position. And we have to remember in 2020, Ben Simmons was still a very good player, still making all-star games, still on all defensive teams, had some injuries a little bit at that point, but he was still very good. So it's easy to look back and say like, oh, that was a terrible decision. I mean, at the time, and I still think it's true, it was a very good decision. I still would make it if it was presented today exactly how it had happened. Horford coming off a terrible year, did not fit here, did not play well here, and getting off that contract and getting things in return. Danny Green, obviously a very valuable player for them during that time. And as I mentioned, I know it's hard to remember, but Ben Simmons did play basketball in 2020 and played it okay.
And you weren't quite sure if he should be the 4 or maybe he should be,
he should be on the court, I think is what they thought. Wow. We didn't know where he was going to be. He was going to be the point forward at some point. He was, that's always going to be something that's going to stick with me for a long time because I was a really big Ben Simmons fan. You saw it, and I didn't care if he ever shot the 3, but he was just so good at everything else, and then he just forgot how to play basketball and stopped caring about it, I guess. I'm not really sure, but it was a good deal. But I do remember the verbiage of the lightly protected, and then, whatever, 2 years later we found out, or it was like over a year, I felt like later, I was like 1 through 6. That's heavily protected. But you're thinking you're not going to be in that position. There's no way, right? Like, there's no way. We don't need that pick. We're going to be fine because we're going to win championships. And no. And it's all
5 years later, there win no championships.
Yeah, it's irritating that it went to the Thunder maybe because you look at the Thunder and I think if all the picks conveyed this year, because I think already one has and there's one more that could, they would have 5 first rounders. Like that is their front office, Sam Presti and everybody that's studying him were there. That's incredible. But that's to me, it's like, really? That's an embarrassment. And they're the number 1 team in the NBA. And they've got all these first round picks. Stop it. Just stop.
You're embarrassed by how they were able to rebuild and the Sixers weren't.
It's funny too with the Thunder, like one of their better players, Lou Dort, was undrafted. So it's like, we have all the picks and also we don't even need picks.
We don't even need them. That guy.
Yeah.
And you know what? We'll take that guy. You don't want Isaiah Joe too, and make him good. We'll do that as well. So, a little bittersweet, but that pick will convey in next year. If it doesn't convey this year, I think it's top 4.
I can't do that. Talk about the bitterest pill. Oh, don't worry, you can get it next year. Great. So we're going to be a dumpster fire again. Perfect.
They're going to get their first round pick one way or another. Sam Presti kind of made sure that with the way that is worded and the way it plays out. But
honestly,
Yeah. Frustrating, man. I mean, I think that's where some of that stuff comes in, Amy, when you're talking about, I'm not watching the playoffs and like all that stuff comes up. The broadcast is talking about, all the great picks the Thunder has, and they're talking about, the Nova Knicks and how well they're playing together and they're making this incredible comeback. And you're watching Mikal Bridges, who could have been on your team. So there's some sting there. There's some burn there. There's a little bit of that residual. You're
Buddy Hield just scored 33 points.
Oh my gosh, 9 3-pointers. 9 3-pointers. Where there were games he didn't show up previously and then comes up
Exactly.
game 7.
I think his own teammate gets irritated with him, and his own teammate, I mean Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler actually gets irritated with everybody. But
it is some weird love going on.
I don't understand that, but I don't understand a lot of things that Jimmy Butler does. But if it fires him up, then
they respond. The teammates respond. You see Jimmy doing a post-game interview. Buddy is like right here, like it's really having a good time and the whole bit. But
yeah, I don't know. But it is pretty remarkable because it's it's something I think that I've mentioned on here before. It's like we get the wrong one and we get the right player at the wrong time, right? Like, so you go back for the Phillies, they got, did you get Jason Giambi? No, you get Jeremy Giambi. And that's who you chose. You chose the wrong brother. Oh, did you want Clay Matthews? No, you get Casey Matthews.
No. You want Marvin Bagley?
No. You get Marcus Bagley. And they get players who are like turned out good, but like not here. Oh, did you want Javon Curse? You don't get Titans Javon Curse. You get this Javon Curse, who's like a shell of himself. So I feel like there's been that history here in Philadelphia. So it's just very fitting. It's like, Buddy Hield's really good. Of course. Al Horford with championship. Not here. So I don't know. It's there's something in the water here. We make great bread because of the water, but there's something where sometimes you meet the wrong player. The right player, but at the wrong time.
Amy, you get it. Oh my God, you get it so much. That is hilarious.
I could go on and on. There's so many examples.
Of course.
If I called Sean down, I'm sure you can come up with them. How many times you signed like the baseball player that was really good, literally everywhere else, and then he comes here and it's just like,
right. We can go with the Flyers, Jeff Carter and all those guys.
Yeah. Goes on, wins multiple Stanley Cups.
Yeah. Oh man. I got to take a break after that one.
Sorry.
That burned a little bit. That was really real. That close to home.
Casey Matthews that got you.
Jeremy Giambi.
That's my favorite.
Because I covered him. He was with the Oakland A's, and I watched a lot of him when I was in Sacramento. But yeah, funny. He was good there, just not good here. But yeah. All right. At Wilmington University, show us some love to our title sponsor. Your dream is their mission. Be sure to join Wilmington University for its open house on May 7th, online or in person at their Newcastle campus. Details at wilmu.edu/open house. That was a good one, man. Here we are back on the Sixers Talk podcast. And guys, we've seen these former Sixers playing in the postseason. We've seen some of them bounce out of the postseason. Several of them going here in the first round. But I'm curious, what is next for this team? How close can they get to the championship? Do you feel like there is a resurgence on the horizon for them? A lot will depend on how this lottery works out, but we got Tyrese Maxey at the Kentucky Derby talking about how great the fans are. We got Paul George at an event talking about the fans. I think they get the passion and the intensity and what people want and the desire here. It just has not translated to the on the court product and how well they've been able to succeed. So much of that centers around Joel Embiid. We're trying to figure out what version of Joel Embiid we're going to get back. Bill Simmons is out here throwing out ridiculous trades. Our producer, Ben Barry, posed the question of, will Embiid play 150 games over the next 4 seasons? Listen, that should be attainable. That should be well attainable. 4 seasons, 150 games. 50 games per season will be 200 games. So you're talking about less than 50 games over 4 seasons. Um, is that even worth debating? That, look, Amy, you're making a face, but that should be completely attainable.
Oh, of course it is. Like that's when I think about. Listen, I am steadfastly team Joel Embiid stays with the Sixers because I know as soon as he leaves, as my previous example, he will win a championship because that's how we roll. So, and that's not that I would never deny him that. I joke about things like that. But no, I mean, yeah, when I think about like people talk about like, oh, because you know it's going to happen.
Right.
When they talk about like, oh, I think that, Joel Embiid's an unmovable contract. I think Joel Embiid is a movable. I think any contract's a movable contract, but his is more movable in my mind than Paul George because if you sell somebody on 50 games of Joel Embiid, that's all you need because Joel Embiid rolls out of the bed when somewhat healthy and can give you 25 points, sometimes on one leg. So to me, 50 games is the base for him. The problem is it's over 4 years. So you're hoping you can front load that a little bit in order to meet that 140 games because you're going to need like 60, maybe one of the 2 years, and then 30 on the back half. It seems like such an easy question. And if it was anybody else, I'd have been like, yep, sure. You can play 140 games in 4 years. It's no problem. It's 40 games, 44, 45, 45, 45, or whatever it is. But when you dive deeper, it's the 4-year part. Like, how many does he play next year?
Yeah, we just don't know what version of him we're going to be getting back. That's probably the most frustrating things.
I think if you get him at 75% for 50 games, that's something I would take because he is good enough at 75% for me. I just don't know if 75% is sustainable over 4 years for him.
Yeah, and the thing is, not to interrupt you, Noah, I'm just thinking like, regardless of what version of Embiid we get back, he'll still need to be the main focal point here. If he is traded to another team, he might be the 2 or the 3. You know what I'm saying? Which gives him less pressure, less need to be the man in every situation and to have to carry the load in that way. But what were you thinking, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, although I think we've already seen signs that the Sixers want to guard against that. Part of the reason they acquired Paul George, part of the reason they are really encouraging Tyrese Maxey when the team is shorthanded to just put up 30, 35 shots. Like, they understand that it's not sustainable for Embiid to be asked to do absolutely everything down the line. And of course, much of that stuff was irrelevant just because he barely played last season. I think it was 19 games. So yeah, I mean, the Sixers say they're optimistic about how the surgery went, but we all need to see it. And I think ultimately, even the experts probably couldn't give you a great estimation on that question. Every knee is different. Joel Embiid's knee has been troublesome, and as we heard player after player say at the exit interviews, that they're just hoping and praying at this point. So yeah, I think it's a decent line. It's a decent sort of question to think about, and I don't think anyone has really great answers right now. But when you sort of bring up the big picture questions with the Sixers regarding can they actually attain a championship level in this era, I still am really unsure about just like the health approach with these other players, because kind of taking a step back from last season, there were just so many instances when players returned from injuries and then they were back on the sideline pretty soon after, like Tyrese Maxey with the hamstring, Andre Drummond with the left toe, Gershon Yabusele's knee was a problem for the last couple months of the year. There's many examples of this. So I think that those are certainly matters they are evaluating and very much need to, because the team should be at least able to play passable basketball when Joel Embiid's not on the court. And in order for that to happen, like, you can't only have 8 or 9 guys available. Like Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, they need to play a lot of games, and the role players need to be healthier too, at least more so than they were last season.
Yeah, man. It definitely does all fall at his feet. This is a team game. We know that. So it just is frustrating and a bit, it creates confusion. It creates the big unknown of what's next. How do they figure it out? Will this all work out? And you think about the amount of games that Paul George played prior to coming to Philly, and he was up around 70 games and then has a season where he's less than what he should be. And, Father Time undefeated. We all know that expression. So it's just like, okay, so next year should be a good year for Paul George, but will they have Joel Embiid? How healthy will Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain be? And what moves will they make to help bolster the roster? So there is a lot of unknown, and we're playing a little bit of fantasy versus reality, but I think the reality is that no one knows what's going to happen with Joel Embiid at this point. Like Noah said, even the doctors would every knee is different. So it's just, you got to hang on right now. Just got to hang on and hope for the best, just like all the Sixers in those exit interviews. But
listen, in the words of the greatest girl band probably in the last 30 years, you just got to hold on for one more day. That's it.
One more day or one more day, and we'll get there.
Another day.
Yeah.
Another day.
Yeah. I mean, with Paul George, I know we're sometimes amused by the obligations of the Sixers social media folks, and I saw they posted happy birthday to Paul George.
God bless those people.
35 years old. So sincerely, happy birthday to Paul George, but it seems like the Sixers fan base maybe wasn't the most supportive of him reaching another year. And
did you see any choice comments, Noah? Did you see any choice comments?
I just saw there were a lot of comments. I think that told me all I need to know.
It hit like 1,000 comments within like 10 minutes. It feels like everybody saw it. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. And then best is you stroll through real quick. I mean, there's obviously some rules, but I like every like fifth or sixth comment, there's someone says like, I'm here for the comments, because that's all people are there for. They just want to read what people are saying. But you mentioned it, Danny. So much hinges on these guys, and I think Noah hit the nail on the head again. These role players, they just don't have the money though to sign some of these guys. You just wonder what they're going to be able to do. They have $0 at their disposal, it seems like.
A little bit more quickly on this fantasy versus reality. Can whoever they draft, whether it be in that top 6 or out, have the kind of impact Jared McCain was having on this team? Oh, he better. Okay.
He better, because they can't afford anybody else. I mean, they're at that. That's why the draft strategy is so interesting, because so much will based on who you're going to decide, right? The draft is what, the 26th and 27th or 20, yes. I guess it's 26, 27.
I think it's 26, 27. Yeah.
And then the free agency starts on the 30th. So if you draft a wing, then you're saying, all right, well, I'm not keeping, one of the wings that I have currently. If Kelly Oubre opts out and tries to look for a longer term deal. If you draft a guard, then it's like, what does that mean? So it's just, everything is so connected. It hinges so much.
That's why a wing like Ace Bailey looks appealing to me. I mean, somebody who's lengthy, can probably guard multiple positions. I mean, he ain't big on defense, but
I mean, that's what
what did they say? We want to get younger, and we want to get longer in those certain places on the team where they can appreciate and use some length on the wing.
They need Mikal Bridges. If Mikal Bridges was in the draft this year, that's who they would take. That's who they need. That's who they needed.
Oh, you mean a guy who plays defense and doesn't miss a game? Doesn't miss a single game?
Doesn't miss a game. Do you see how many minutes he was logging? He logs, not only does he not miss a game and hasn't missed one since like high school, or before high school or something crazy, he averages like 40 minutes a game. It's incredible. He plays great defense on the best player, and he'll have a timely 3.
Screenshot this and send this to Tom Thibodeau. Me pointing at my ball.
Yeah,
it is tired,
isn't it?
It's like time, Tiggs.
Like,
let it go, baby.
Little swoop, like this little swoop.
Is that gel down? Is that gel down?
I don't know, but if I had clippers, I would just come right over and just. Anything back here? It's just like island. It's an island situation. Did you ever have an island, Daniel? Did it ever completely separate?
Amy, I fired my hair before it quit on me. I saw some stages. I saw some thinning areas, and it was.
And thought, nope,
I'm out of here.
I'm out.
Yeah, it was out of here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Much love to everyone out there. Thanks for listening and watching the Sixers Talk podcast. We are with you every step of the way. For Noah Levick and Amy Fadool, I'm Danny Pommells. Check out Noah Levick's work on NBC Sports Philadelphia.com. See you next time.